This girl was going to see the eyes on behalf of her best friend, so that the other party would give up the intention of marrying her and quickly end this meeting. She constantly poses a twisted posture like an eel, showing that she is a shopping addict, a genuine newspaper tendon, and also told the other person that he was fascinated by the male body and at the same time went back and forth with many people. At this time, he also took the initiative to invite this young man to the hotel, so that he could see his shield and leave. But who would have expected, he agreed to go to the hotel with her and book a room, making the young man think that he didn't know what to do. Not only that, but he also directly asked her to marry. The girl's opponent was none other than Kang Tae-mo, a son who came out of the picture handsome with extensive knowledge, especially the rich. Not only that, but he is also a third-generation tycoon. Kang Tae-mo returned from a foreign company, became the master general manager of a food company, and saw his nephew return. The president's grandfather specially arranged an appointment ceremony for him. Tae-mo had no opinion on this ceremony. He hoped to be able to interact with each employee at work, so I told Secretary Sung-hoon to go to the podium and pass the word to him. This made the grandfather who arranged the appointment ceremony very embarrassed. He angrily left the scene. Shin Ha-ji was a research officer in the development team of Tae-mo Company, and she also attended the appointment ceremony. She was full of curiosity about the person named Tae-mo who represented the company. He was absent from the appointment ceremony and was not idle, because he was a workaholic. He had a firm grasp of everything inside the company for a long time to make bold changes when he took office. The first step is to solve the problem of Park's standing staff. Park is a former employee of the company. Taking advantage of his position to accept bribes from relatives and friends, work out the company's professional software for them, even let their relatives work as advertising models. Take soulless advertising photos, hang them in the most eye-catching position in the airport. Tae-mo is extremely dissatisfied with this. He especially came to warn, and after solving the standing committee of Park Tae-mo, he returned to the company. Just when he met his grandfather wanted to tell Tae-mo to get married. He also personally selected 20 subjects to see his eyes. Tae-mo just needs to listen to the word and go to the meeting. Tae-mo refuses. He doesn't care about anything except work. Grandpa suspected Tae-mo and Sung-hoon Kamau. After all, the two of them were always attached to each other outside of work all day. Sung-hoon quickly destroyed the relationship. Even if it was Kamau, he didn't like people like Tae-mo. At this time, the grandfather was reassured, seeing that Tae-mo was stubborn and did not want to go to see his eyes. Grandpa was very angry, had high blood pressure and had to be hospitalized. Let Tae-mo compromise, pretend that the heart, liver, lungs and kidneys are not healthy. Tae-mo didn't say much either, just told his grandfather to do a comprehensive examination, and then left the hospital. Today is Haj's birthday. Mingu sends a message to Haj to go to the restaurant. He has a gift he wants to give to Haj. Haji has been secretly in love for many years, full of joy waiting to celebrate his birthday with his partner. While on the way, Haji received a congratulatory phone call from his best friend Yang Xiao. She told me about the week she met me. Yang Xiao was curious and full of energy, and immediately began to guess that last time she spotted the necklace at the week's restaurant. Most likely to prepare birthday gifts for Haj, wanting to take this opportunity to transfer relationships from friends to lovers. Hearing Yang Xiao's words, Haji became a little dreamy. She went into the restaurant, saw that it was dark inside, and Mingu took the ice cream cake and came out from the side. Yang Xiao's words kept popping up in Haj's mind, encouraging her to bravely pursue love. Haj opened the flag in her belly and ran towards the week. When she saw that the distance was getting closer, Haji finally saw the name on the cake. This is not the birthday cake prepared for her. Haji did not break in time to hit Mingu. The cream cake fell on her, and the unexpected joy of the customer was also ruined. Haji finished processing the cream cake on his clothes and took out his birthday present. These are 2 concert tickets of the singer that Haji likes. Mingu hopes she asks her boyfriend to go see it with her. After listening, Haji was a little disappointed. Week's typing head always doesn't know what Haji really wants. Haji sadly returned to his parents' fried chicken shop to help. She used to be a food researcher, picky about how to marinate her mother's chicken. Still, after the closure, exclamation of today's income, parents give discounts to customers and give free food, basically not earning much dong. Parents saw that Haj was especially upset today, in a bad mood. At this time, there was a quarrel outside. It turned out that the owner of the fish shop next door left the trash can outside the door of the Haj house. Haji's younger brother held the trash can to find the other party to calculate the book, and the two began to push the trash can. Haji threw the trash can into the fish shop owner's lap. Because he used too much force, the opponent couldn't stand up, so he fell to the ground. Returning home, Haji was scolded by his mother during a fight. She was not happy to return to her room, remembering that her secret love did not result in results. It was extremely heartbreaking. It's a beautiful day again. The grandfather knew that the pangolin wanted to dismiss the former employee of the dance park. Thuong Vu Park's father has made great contributions to the company, and is also a good friend of his grandfather. So the grandfather closed his eyes and opened his eyes to Chong Wu Park. But the pangolin was extremely stubborn and persistent, wanting to leave the worm in the company again. After listening, the grandfather took the opportunity to talk about the numbness and went to see his eyes. Take this reason to pay the price for the dismissal of the dance park. Thus, the numbness agreed to go for an eye examination. Grandpa immediately smiled brightly. Haji, on the other side, had a sullen brow. Yesterday, he pushed the owner of the fish shop down, compensating the other party for medicine. This month's income of Haj is not much left, as if this month is unpaid. Thinking of this, she was sad and rich. But soon the heavens gave her the opportunity to make money. The rich lady Yang Xiao made an appointment for Haj to go to dinner. While eating, Yang Xiao's father called, announced that she was going to see her eyes today. Yang Xiao hated going to see his eyes. Last time, I also let the Haj go instead. Haji pretended to be possessed by a ghost in front of the viewer, and Yang Xiao faked a ghost in the distance, causing the other party to faint. Originally thought that the good news was far away, she would not have to go to see her eyes in the future. But unexpectedly, it was still difficult. So this time, Yang Xiao asked Haji, who has top-notch acting skills, to see his eyes on his behalf. I hope you help me act again, so that I can stay away from these eye-watching incidents. Haji originally disagreed, but when Yang Xiao mentioned the wages, Haji agreed immediately. To make the Haj resemble the rich lady, Minggu specially took her to the exhibition area of her group's new clothes. Carefully choose outfits with different styles for Haj, and especially beautiful makeup. Holding the eyes of the Halo Haj to the eye-viewing location. The object of Yang Xiao's eyes was Temo. The first time he saw the Temo, Haji was immediately attracted by his handsome expression. There was a dancing deer in his heart. The moment he saw Temo's business card, Haji was stunned. It turned out that the other party was the new president of the company. Haji is worried that later the other party will recognize him at the company. I want to get out of this dangerous lagoon. But because of the wages that Yang Xiao paid, Haji restrained. She began to break the eye viewing this time. First, the man didn't like the girl dressed too revealingly. Haji directly ran out of leather jackets, pretending to be hot in the cold wind. But her prickly arm immediately made her exposed. The plan failed. Haji began to caress the branded high heels. Kiss the limited size bag. Men definitely don't like women who are passionate about brands. But Timo was now reading work messages. Completely ignored the performance of the Haj. Waiting for the school Haj to be excessive, Timo immediately laughed. He liked the other party's appearance so straightforward. Therefore, Haji had to use the last move. Directly request to go to the hotel. Timo was very surprised, but seeing Haj's legs trembling because of the tension, immediately took her to the hotel room. This time, Haji cried and didn't shed tears anymore. She was trying to find a way to escape. At the end of this eye-viewing session, she was shamelessly cursed by a person who grabbed her hair. An hour ago, I had just slept with my boyfriend. Now he led the new man to the hotel. Timo removed the woman's hand. asked about the situation of the woman now that the photo came out. Haji discovered that the opponent's clothes resembled his acupuncture point. Haji kept explaining, but the other party still did not forgive. Fortunately, Timo freed her. Take the Haj out of the hotel. Haji suddenly came up with a plan. Arrogantly walking towards Timo, he admitted that he was usually in a relationship with several men at the same time. She is a person who is very fond of boys. After speaking, she hurriedly left this place as if escaping her life. On the way back, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that this woman was very interesting. He refused the next eye sessions arranged by his grandfather. He decided to marry his partner. The Haj, who was unaware of this, was congratulating Yang Xiao on the ruined eye viewing. The two sang and danced wildly in the karaoke room. In the midst of that, Yang Xiao received a phone call from his father. Soon after, she lost interest in talking to Haji. Timo wants to marry him. Soon, Yang Xiao's father called again to arrange a meeting between the two houses. Yang Xiao had to hide in the hotel and tell Haji to solve this for him. But Haji is worried about whether he will meet the chairman at the company. Unexpectedly, only one sentence came true. That day when he was going to work, Haji rushed to the elevator when he encountered Timo. She had to try to get into the elevator. The whole process was at the end. When she arrived at the work floor, she rushed out, carelessly dropping the employee card that was picked up by Timo. Haji had to turn his back on the other party to go back and receive the card. Despite seeing the photo, Timo doesn't recognize her yet. With watching Timo's eyes extremely confident with his face and body, the demeanor was elegant and her personality was extremely perfect, and the other woman couldn't refuse. Sung-hoon next to him turned his head away and hurriedly turned to leave. Sung-hoon goes to a convenience store when he stumbles upon Yang-seo. Yang-seo was touched by his little friend, and the ballpoint pen left ink marks on Yang-seo's shirt. But she didn't get angry and drew a flower for her little friend, teaching her not to hold a brush to paint. Sung-hoon sees everything, and when he leaves, he bumps into Yang-seo forgetting to bring his wallet. Yang-seo saw Sung-hoon stunningly handsome and was immediately fascinated by Sung-hoon's beauty. When she was extremely excited, she received a phone call from Timo. Yang-seo was bored and hurried to find Haj, telling her to refuse the other party to help her, using pitiful styles making Haj submit. Therefore, Haji met Timo again. As soon as he met, Timo very stubbornly held Haji's phone, saving her phone number. Haji also refused to be weak, directly rejected the other party's marriage proposal, turned to leave. Timo again prevented her from asking Haj to marry him and asked for 10 dates for Haj to get to know him. And he went forward and told the Haj that he was also very fond of that aspect. In Haji's heart, he was immediately confused. Timo knew that the other party had misunderstood, explaining that he treated women very well, ensuring that she would not be cuckolded. Haji refused again, just wanting the two not to see each other in the future. After speaking, she hurriedly left. But when she passed the red and green light, she saw the weak. Haji was afraid that the other party would see his makeup, so he hurriedly looked for a place to hide, but he was not careful to get into Timo's car. The two looked at each other with 4 eyes. Timo wanted to know the reason why Haji refused to get married. Haji is all making up stories. She doesn't like Timo from top to bottom, and she also hates Timo like a waterfowl. After hearing this, Timo was a little stunned, and Haji hurriedly ran out of the car. Sung-hoon showed Timo the image of the ancestral bird. Looking left and right, Timo didn't see that he looked like a bird. On the other side, Haji was telling Yang-seo about the incident in the car. Yang-seo laughed endlessly, and Haji was sad. If they don't act, Timo will definitely force marriage. For this issue, there must be a long-term plan. Now, Yang-seo can't wait to share the man she was excited about, which is also the same thing that Sung-hoon passed by. In order to see the other party again, Yang-seo made an appointment at the food stall near the convenience store, which was to hug the tree and wait for the rabbit. In the end, the two people did not pay attention to Sung-hoon's passing. On the contrary, they were drunk and were brought in front of Haji's parents by the policeman. The two drunken girls went crazy, screamed loudly, and then hugged each other again. Haji's mother couldn't stand it anymore, shouting for the two to go to the second floor to sleep. That day, the two friends woke up and saw their mother angry and excited. The two obedient demons on the ground spoke words of love to the mother of the Hajj to escape punishment. After the two of them finished arranging, they went out to work. At this time, Yangxiu personally made an appointment to meet with Chaebol first, intending to meet and explain clearly to the other party. Haji is the object of the unfamiliar eyes she hires, but in Chaebol's eyes she is selfie. He thinks that Yangxiu, who took the initiative to meet him, must regret rejecting him. Sung-hoon, who was beside Chaebol's momentum, felt that things were not so simple. And he reminded me that when Chaebol was angry, he was indeed quite like a waterfall. When Haji was working, he saw Minggu calling his female colleague next to him. The embarrassed female colleague said that the two were looking into it. Haji was immediately stunned. Her group had gathered several times at Mingus restaurant. The two of you won't have to meet the love judgment because of that. Haji sneaked a peek at the two meeting in the distance. The two had intimate contacts and gave it back. Soon Minggu left. Haji lamented that he was so pitiful, doing such stealthy behavior. She was thinking about it when she saw Chaebol coming in front of her. She hurriedly turned around and ran away, while hurriedly touching a passerby. The moment he fell to the ground, the slippers on his feet flew away, hit the Chaebol in the face. Haji felt uncomfortable, hurriedly ran away. Chaebol angrily picked up the slippers and chased after them. You must teach the other party a battle. The two of you just chased me away. No one has any intention of stopping. Sunggu chases after Chaebol. Tell me, the runaway girl wears a research officer's uniform, probably an employee of the food development department. But the Chaebol stubbornly had to catch the opponent and continued to run towards the Hajj. Finally, he held a pair of slippers to stop the elevator from closing, causing the Hajj to run away. Chaebol piled on Hajj chalk. Why did you throw your slippers at me? Haji turned his back to the opponent. Explained that she was not careful to slip the slippers that had just flown away. While talking, Chaebol sees Haj's business card. He knew the name and department she was working in. Seeing Haji worried, sweat dripping streams. Chaebol put the slippers on the ground and didn't save this anymore. On the contrary, discuss work. Chaebol was a little impressed with Haji's project, although it was not approved. But it is also considered creative. Listen to it. Haji immediately turned on the three-person mode. Introduce the original intention of his plan. Look at the Hajj who is talking passionately at the side. Chaebol is very satisfied with her work attitude. Returning to her working position, her female colleague was sad. It turned out after a few meals, she actively contacted Minggu. He also secretly placed a small gift in the restaurant. This time the special week came to return the gift and cleverly refused the female colleague. Evening. Yang Xiao arrived at the meeting point. When reversing the car, he hit the car behind. Yang Xiao got out of the car to check. I didn't expect the other party to be Sung-hoon. Yang Xiao immediately opened the flag in his stomach. Give me last week's business card. Do Sung-hoon must call week. Sung-hoon looked at the business card reading Yang Xiao's name. After Chaebol finished listening, it is thought that the Yang Xiao in front of him is faking the object of the week's eyes. Yang Xiao clearly explained the misunderstanding. Yang Xiao pretended to be a part-time employee hired by her. She also didn't know the other party. Chaebol saw Yang Xiao's book bag, saying that last time Yang Xiao pretended to hold a bag like this. Yang Xiao hurriedly explained. The two bags are not the same brand. Okay. The bag last time was seinen. For a moment, Yang Xiao's lie was exposed. It was very clear that she was familiar with the object of fake eyes. Now Chaebol understands Yang Xiao's weakness. Intimidating her, she brought the object of fake eyes to the front of the week. Yang Xiao reluctantly agreed. She sent a message to Haji first that everything was fine. After that, Yang Xiao had to go step by step. Actually, compared to being deceived, Chaebol noticed more that Haji's words hurt him, especially the saying that he resembles a waterfowl. That day, Yang Xiao came to look for Haj. Take the reason to thank her for looking at her eyes instead of herself. Take her to the shopping clothing store. Haji didn't think much of it either, except beautiful clothes with makeup. After finishing their makeup, the two went to the restaurant. Haji didn't know what was going on to take a photo together. In the end, Yang Xiao said that he was lying and was found out by the Tamo. She reluctantly made an appointment to go out. After speaking, Yang Xiao hurriedly ran away. Haji also wanted to run away when he saw this. Coincidentally, he encounters a Tamo who is entering the door. Haji had to wear the long hair left by Yang Xiao. He carelessly dropped the coupon of his fried chicken shop on the ground, just picked up by the enemy. Therefore, the address of the Haj fried chicken shop was also known by Tamo. Upon meeting, Tamo asked her how much money she received to reduce the appearance of the eye-catcher. When he heard that it was only 800,000 won, he immediately sprayed his nose. Therefore, Haji hurriedly apologized, promising that he would be compensated for his promotion and escape from poverty. Haji said for a while, only to find that the other party was still silent and stared at him. Tamo began to question her. After all, there was something like a waterfall. Haji smiled happily, hurriedly explaining that because he refused to get married, he carelessly spoke the words in his heart. The thing is that Tamo is really very similar to a waterfall. Tamo was extremely speechless to take revenge on the other party. He insisted that the next time the Haj had to answer his phone, otherwise he would go straight to the fried chicken shop. Haji gave in for safety, but when she announced her name, she took a fake name as Xin so that her identity would not be revealed. Haji had just arrived home and saw Yang Xiao deceiving him and was jogging when he got angry. She ran to teach Yang Xiao a battle, and Yang Xiao knelt on the ground while pretending to be pitiful and begging. Haji ignored everything, grabbed Yang Xiao's collar and wanted to make a move, but his mother stopped him. Haji's mother didn't ask clearly and taught her a battle. Yang Xiao pretended to be a victim and kneed into the lap of Haji's mother. Haji was woken up. He was extremely unjust, and Tmo was also angry with Haji, and he still couldn't sleep until 4 a.m. When he was watching the TV broadcast of a documentary about the ancestral bird, his anger exploded. He directly called Haj in the middle of the night. Haj dreamed that he was awakened. Tmo called just to confirm if he could contact Haji at any time. Haji was about to get angry and refute, but the opponent buttoned the phone, and Haji woke up to study the soup. That day, Tmo, who had not slept all night, was dragged away to check his eyes. It turned out that the grandfather knew that Tmo could not get married temporarily, so the grandfather specially arranged 11 rich and beloved geniuses. Tmo eagerly went to look at the eyes of the subjects one by one, but all the girls were bored. The words that also praised Tmo's handsome appearance all vibrated with him. Tmo was bored to the extreme. It was very difficult to rest, and he was dragged to Japan to meet the 11th girl. After a busy day, the grandfather gave him a notebook filled with business cards of the subject of the eye. He planned to have an eye exam for Tmo a year later, thinking that he would have to go to see his eyes non-stop every day. Tmo hurriedly lied that he already had a marriage partner, immediately agreed to look at his eyes and prepare to marry Yang Xiao, all to provoke his girlfriend. The two of them broke up temporarily because of anger, and now they are as harmonious as they were at the beginning. In order for his grandfather to trust him, Tmo also pulled Sung Hun down to the end, constantly alluding to his eyes. Sung Hun helplessly admitted that he helped the two of them come back. The grandfather immediately became happy, canceled all eye care arrangements and asked Tmo to arrange for him to meet his girlfriend. Tmo calls Haji, makes an appointment to meet her, and prepares to tell her to be a hero to solve this problem. This time, Tmo wants to tell Haji to pretend to be his girlfriend, dealing with his grandfather's inspection. Tmo highly praised Haji's acting talent when he saw his eyes, which was considered as a training paper. In order for the other party to agree, Tmo also deliberately enchanted the Haj, paying double the remuneration of 1,600,000 won. Moreover, once you meet your grandfather, Tmo will pay you a one-time salary. The fascination of this person momentarily made the Haj unable to refuse. But Haji restrained the greed in her heart. She didn't want to have anything to do with the company's president. TMO was extremely dissatisfied. At that time Haji said that he would compensate him. Haji had to say that she would think. She returned to her fried chicken shop depressed. Then I heard the name Jin Hee in the TV movie. It turned out that the fake name she used was the name in the hot movie Han Sam-shi. At the same time, the grandfather was happily watching this Han Shi movie. He was waiting for Jin Hee's fate in the movie. It was getting dark, and TMO drove to the fried chicken shop. Just met, he gave the love contract to Haji for her to sign. Haji did not agree to do these things, and hurriedly left, but being pulled back by TMO from behind while the two were gritting their teeth, Haji's younger brother came from a distance. In the midst of the chaos, Haji ran into her TMO and hurriedly went to pull the opponent back, but fell to the ground. Just like that, the two kissed. Fortunately for Haji, my brother and father didn't catch me lying on top of the man. The contract was then brought up by the heroine to discuss, and there were some details that she was not satisfied with. For example, if she violates the contract, she will have to pay 100 times more compensation. She heard that the guy wanted to call the legal department to come and immediately wrote a love contract. The Haj then had to watch a PowerPoint presentation detailing the director. There is also a reason why they fell in love with each other when they met while studying abroad in New York. And yet, the Gumhai scene is also made up. Haji must memorize everything until the date of the meeting with the president. The strange thing is that the Haj learns day and night so much that the TV calling Gum his name also automatically answers. Even when I went out to eat with my friend, I held a study paper as if it were an exam syllabus. A little bit of a story. Some people rumored that the director's parents had an accident when he was a child because someone was behind him. So the chairman kicked all his relatives out of the corporation to protect his nephew. A few days later, when he met Kang Tae-moo and Sung-hun's father again, she read the director's resume by heart like a textbook. On the way the two boys drove the girl home, Haji fell asleep on the car and fell on Tae-moo's shoulder. Seeing that his neck was about to wake up, the director was startled and threw his shoulder to make Haji smash his boots against the car window. The next day, she went to eat at our house because she refused to continue to look at her eyes. His father kicked him out of the house and confiscated all his bank cards. The Go Food Company, after the head of the meeting, was scolded by the director for a fight because he could not find the head chef. Looking at the Haj, she remembered the chef Min Woo that the heroine once mentioned. The weird thing is for this employee to quickly prepare to submit the project tomorrow. Chairman Kong sat with a mask on his face and watched TV, listening to the name of his future granddaughter-in-law, and was satisfied with his stomach. Just like the girl he likes in the movie. Tae-moo looked at the TV and saw the male and female protagonists falling on top of each other, just like the scene of me and Haj. What movie has just kissed once has caught fire, but it's really okay. And Haji was with his star fruit friend while taking pictures of food at Min Woo restaurant. Tonight, because there was no place, she only had to sleep temporarily at her best friend's house and then find a room to rent later. Haji sat all night working on the project and submitted it to the head of the department the next morning. No matter how she didn't want to, the heroine was still dragged by the head of the department to persuade her. The strange thing is that Haji wears a mask on the pretext that he is sick so that he does not show his face. After agreeing with this room, he immediately signed a contract with the buyer. There is such a fate, but right next to the secretary's house. Haji was happily going to Min Woo's restaurant to report the news when he saw Krat back with his ex. Waiting for the bus, the heroine of our house fell in love. Even though I've liked the other person for a few years, I always think that as long as I wait, the guy will like it again. Life hurts like a dream. Min Woo returns to his ex-lover. I was sad, but ironically, there was still a boil in the pot and all the papers fell to the ground. So my sister sat and cried bitterly. The next morning, his eyes looked like an umbrella pigeon. But it was already the day of the show. Haji eats beautifully with Tae-moo and goes to the restaurant to meet the elder. With a salty but beautiful personality, Chairman Kong met for the first time and fell in love with his granddaughter-in-law this time. Hearing her grandfather ask about her love story with the other party, she slashed the wind so much that it was about to become a storm. Why not climb the mountain together and watch the stars on the top of the mountain all night? When asked if he really loved his nephew, Haji immediately fell in love with him a lot. What's more, even though she hates to leave the rain, she heard her say goodbye and ran to the rain. Moving to the couple, Yang Xiao moved to the house. The secretary still does not know that the person who moved in is the lady of Marine Group. After leaving for the Hajj, he is still satisfied with his ability to act according to his improvisation. Who would have thought that the fact that she mentioned the rain made the director uncomfortable? Hung kept warning her. They were merely a contractual financial relationship. So don't add any nonsense. After that, the chairman led the two of them to eat steamed dumplings. This dumpling is always delicious. These two grandchildren also go well together. By the way, the chairman apologized for having a bad attitude towards her initially due to dressing and makeup. At the same time, he handed over his nephew. Father drank slowly, was in a hurry, choked and then dropped the whole bag. Fortunately, Haji quickly picked up the wallet if he didn't reveal his real identity papers. Just when the grandfather picked up the performance ticket, he went in. He blamed him for not paying any attention to his lover, so that his daughter went to buy a concert ticket without daring to invite him. You must go today. On the Yang Xiao side, the girl was happily enjoying the new house when she discovered that there was a fried baby. Afraid of being too old, he ran out and hugged his male god. Now they both know that they are neighbors, and they love Mr. Xiao thanks to the photo of catching frying. I don't understand what kind of frying brothers and sisters sprayed his father with both insecticidal bottles and he still moved. After thanking Sunghun Yang Xiao, he quickly wanted to get acquainted, but the secretary put him in the house. That night, in front of the chairman, Hadi and Taimai, even if they wanted to, they had to go in together to watch the performance. No shame is Hadis Kroth gives tickets to see his favorite ancient singer. While having fun, the singer read the statement that Minyu sent. What do you hope that your friend of 7 years will bring another guy here? Finally, the singer sang a song for Hadi that reminded her of her old memories and Kroth was very moved to tears. Numbness in my back is a bit obnoxious, but it's very gentle. Seeing the person next to you crying, he didn't say anything, just quietly handed her a handkerchief to wipe it. This idiot loves unilaterally so blatantly, the director always recognizes it. It's strange that the director of our house is walking while eating her. Every mother's crime is likened to work. The two children walked together just now, and then the heroine of our house was so hungry that her stomach boiled. Seeing the rice cake on the side of the road, Hadi dragged the numb to eat it. I don't know how many people are talking on the phone, but I can also get balloons in my face. Taimu led her neck to a convenience store to buy a chief stone while waiting for a taxi. The heroine advised the guy if he could, just love sincerely. Because he hates wasting time, but loving a fake like this is a waste. When she got home, she looked at the meaning, her eyes were as big as a bird, and she read the message of the water ancestor. And numbness holds 2 dolls and thinks of true love. The next morning, the pigeon on Hadis' eyes was even bigger. Afraid that the director would notice the bruise on Hadis' eyes, he went to work to cover his face, and as soon as he removed the mask from the paper package, the young father appeared at the elevator door. Fortunately, the heroine of our house turned her face away quickly if she wasn't recognized. Quickly picked up the blindfold and put it back on. Fortunately in time to handle the problem of revealing his identity in the elevator. Hearing the director tell the secretary to go and try the new product, Hadi panicked. Strange is numbness to go to the food tasting place of the 3 product development departments of GoFood Company. For the first time, the male protagonist met the old grad of Gum High, but at this time he didn't know. As for complimenting the other party's white kimchi stuffed spaghetti, it's delicious. I remember that the assistant asked for an excuse to go to the toilet to avoid the director. That night, Hadi sat down to eat at Chef Min Woo's restaurant. Min Woo thought that the performance she would go with Yangxiu, little hip sister, go with him. Surely in the heart of the chef at this time it is very complicated. Yangxiu arrived late to see the secretary and the director appear outside to call your child in time. Hadi was still lucky enough to see the numb figure in time, so she still crawled out and ran away to listen to Min Woo's phone. Going out to eat with her friend, the heroine listened to Yangxiu and found out that he was beautiful and loving. Judging by the fight at the convenience store, it was his father's secretary who was alive next door to her friend's house. Back at the restaurant, I remembered the song I heard from the chef's phone. With the song at the performance, I was curious about the relationship of the person in front of me with the assistant, which is also 7 years of acquaintance, just like gathering high. Sitting in the car and returning, he didn't expect that there were people who looked like him. The next morning, Yangxiu was about to go to work when he met his neighbors, who would have expected him to see someone taking the stairs down. Hate to jump in front of me. Hadi is the girl who ran after me and asked why. The countryside is too heavenly. People are always just throwing garbage for fear of the smell of the elevator. Falling in love with the newly reincarnated boy, Yangxiu continued to offer to get acquainted, but the secretary still refused. Deng kissed the chairman's house with 2 grandchildren to eat. The chairman kept wanting the 2 secretaries to move here to live like when they had not graduated. And I don't want to kiss very much, it's just an excuse to see the schedule to escape. See how it was discovered by my grandfather this Saturday is the first anniversary of my nephew's love with Gam Hai. But Num didn't remember, so that Nu wouldn't forget, he himself booked a date for him at the restaurant. At Nam Hai, a car carrying Go Food employees took people from the Product Development Department 1 to shoot an advertising video. At the same time, Chairman Kong, who was nearby, saw his staff and went to visit. An excellent draft from the contestant Haji. Every time the chairman appeared made his neck panic. He hurriedly put on a blindfold and tried to avoid his grandfather's face as much as possible, and then he forgot his phone. The head of the room called Haji to come closer, so the young lady covered her face with her hair. How close the water ancestor bird called at such a time. The athlete asked Haji to run like a breeze to the toilet to answer the phone. He mentioned that Saturday was the anniversary of the fake love. The male protagonist asked to go to dinner tonight with her. Unfortunately, he went on a business trip again. The director hung up and couldn't help but be resentful. The chairman must have a weak stomach and just drink coffee, but he is also the deputy of the room to win the favor of his superiors and lead him to the only toilet in this area. Coincidentally, Haji had just opened the toilet door, saw the figure of her grandfather hurriedly closing the door, and refused to open the door at all. After he couldn't bear it, the chairman was nervous and he just opened the door to enter, but Haji opened it just in time. Miho is too much to help the chairman fall off. His father is always wet. All the clothes have been replaced by weak bones. He put on his pants again and got into the car and left. The development department staff standing at the end of the GAC wave apologized for this incident. The director, after being shown a behind-the-scenes video by the staff, saw Haji's face. He saw that this face was very strange, but he didn't have time to think about just telling the staff to post all these videos online. Moving the scene to the woman who was eating, she saw that a stranger had stuffed something into her mailbox, so she approached and asked. It turned out that this brother took the wrong letter, so he returned it with an apology. The secretary who appeared behind him could hear all of his conversations with the people who lived in the same building. Our grandfather fell in pain and had to be hospitalized, so he sent his nephew to Gumi's house to give him tonics. But Gum Hai doesn't want numbness to appear at my house. Of course, I made an appointment for him to sit in the park and wait for me to ride my motorbike out. Haji covered her face tightly, saw the numbness, gave her tonic again, heard him go to the hospital, forced her mouth to ask, did he fall very badly? Fortunately, it can still fight the fire. The male protagonist not only gave him a tonic, but also bought Gum Hai medicine to apply pigeon eyes to the girl. Haji hurriedly thanked him with the last of his head and a bag of fried chicken and maggots drove home. On the day of the fake anniversary, he took his fake girlfriend to go shopping and dress up. As soon as she saw the girl come out, she was stunned by this beauty for a while. The two went to the luxurious restaurant that Chairman Kong had booked in advance for a happy romantic dinner. Num, listening to Gum Hai, commented that the food on the table is very professional, very suitable for me. How the hell is it to invite someone's daughter on a date to talk about work like that, not paying attention to anything? Fortunately, Haji likes food, so she happily accepts it. Moving the scene to Yangshuo to go to the gym, you can also get married. Meet the guy who took the wrong letter again. People gallantly help my neck practice like this, but every crime is not considered at all. Looking at my father's secretary, wow, Looking at this muscular body, it's already overwhelming. When he returned, Yangsho was given the lamp by mistake as an apology gift. It's not convenient to refuse people, she just has to accept it. Returning to the restaurant because I ate too much, I still had to sit down to pick up strange things. Haji, my house tore my aunt's skirt full. At this moment, a whole group of people came over, but Numu quickly stood and hugged the shoulder of the girl behind the shield. The restaurant staff came to give cakes and flowers to take pictures of the two. As soon as I went out, I didn't understand how to stand, and I stumbled and slipped on my high heels. So the director of the Pillow Demon brought her the right shoes to twist the love language. The first background music sounded bonnet, adding romantic, brilliant fireworks. The young couple happily watched the scenery together and enjoyed the beauty. Later, when she went home, Haji didn't notice that she had dropped her wallet in the car. Director Kong found out, so he went back to return the rice but called the other party for a long time and did not answer the phone. How did you see that Gum His Chicken restaurant had the appearance of Haji and Chef Min Woo? The suspicion in him rose up a little hesitantly, but he still opened his wallet. The truth unfolded in front of his eyes. Nu Mu could believe his eyes, called Gum Hai to confirm again. The phone number is from Gum Hai, but the person who picked up the phone is Haji. There was no doubt that the truth was exposed. After the director of our family found out about the identity of the sister, she immediately became very angry. And she still doesn't know that the fake identity of someone else is exposed. She still carelessly eats with her family plus her friend Min Woo. Seeing that Min Woo was a good cook, the mother immediately hoped that the two brothers and sisters would get married in a hurry so that their parents would not have to wait, making the sisters afraid to go in and criticize them in a hurry. Being with the director, he became angry because he knew that Haji dared to deceive him. The brother remembered the beautiful moments of the two of them, and he felt that he understood why he went on a date with an office girl. There is a saying that the teacher's wife's girlfriend at work is really black. The whole road always makes him only know how to hold the doll to vent his anger. The next day, Director Kong didn't bother to say much, so he made an appointment to talk to him. My sister begged my family at this time, not knowing that everything had been exposed, but still kept lying as if it were true, making my brother also follow suit. He asked all the questions and the etiquette that Haji was doing, but she kept answering indiscriminately. Seeing that the sister was still stubborn, Mr. Dai immediately became angry and asked to leave. When he gets outside, Director Kong immediately calls his father's secretary to arrange an appointment with the heart that Haji is developing about their product, making the horizontal sister always run face down to the workplace in time. As soon as she entered, she saw the director there with a cold face waiting for her. The guy was so angry that he immediately made it difficult for the team's products to reduce the cost by 20, making the secretary beg to know what to do. When he returned to his office, his secretary wondered why the director had made it so difficult for their team. And my brother Kong replied angrily, telling my secretary the truth that it was the sister who asked for Gumi. The secretary listened but couldn't believe his eyes. Director Kong thinks that if the sister dares to lie to him, he will pay enough to force her to realize her mistake. Just like that, the secretary asked to spend the days of life and death. No matter how much effort she put into making food, she was forced by Director Kong to work over and over again to the point of madness. Everyone in the group looked at her and asked for work over and over again, but they always felt sorry for her. The next day, the chairman came to work to visit everyone, but everyone avoided him. After deducing for a while, he thought that it was his nephew who exploited the employees to the point that they were so closed. While discussing the dishes, he suddenly saw the image of a familiar employee. It only took 3 seconds for him to realize that this was the one who dared to kick his ass and make him red. While sitting down to eat, the 3 grandchildren sat down to discuss the celebration of the founding of their company. Director Kong was sitting down to eat when he saw the secretary asking to go out to eat with a beautiful bottle, which made his eyes become bright. When she saw this, she immediately skipped the meal and didn't want to eat. And the chairman at this time wanted to ask to see his future granddaughter-in-law, so he immediately forced his nephew to force her to come to the party to meet. Replacing Director Kong immediately agreed with a dangerous expression that shocked his secretary. After lunch, in the evening, Director Kong made an appointment for her sister to meet, making her young son-in-law happy. Without bothering to lengthen the line, Mr. Kong went straight to the main topic, saying that he forced her to come to the party on the company's founding day. She didn't want to go because she was afraid of being exposed, so she tried to lie so that she didn't have to go. But the brother caught all the words about the breach of contract to make her compensate. The secretary asked to find her best friend to help, but because she ran out of the house, she didn't have much, making her helpless. At this time, the director of our house, Kong, was trying to clean up the protection for his father's secretary, when he accidentally saw a souvenir from the village girl Jean Sel. After interrogating my father's secretary for a while, I found out that my sister in the next room was already like that, and she even wrote down the address of the house. Outside, Ha-Di was going to her best friend's house to play, but she was afraid to meet her father's secretary. My best friend bullied his friend to reassure him, but unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped out of the door, he met his mouth. When he saw that, he pretended not to see anything and returned the goods that Sel had sent by mistake and fell into the room just in time. After the father's assistant entered the room, he immediately wanted to persuade the director to ask for a reduction in the death sentence for the secretary. But unexpectedly, Mr. Kong was in a hurry to take revenge. The next day, when Ha-Di had just walked out of the bedroom, she suddenly noticed the lamp in the other corner, which felt a little strange, but she stopped ignoring it. When she arrived at the office, she was suddenly congratulated by her teammates because her spaghetti won the award. She was happy because her achievements were not wasted, but after hearing that she was personally awarded the reward by the director, she was confused. Sitting in the bathroom and thinking about the prospect of splitting into two is too childish. Ma'am. There was no other way for the Gumi to go there, and her identity would pretend to be sick and not be able to come. But unexpectedly, the director was too high-handed until the evening, when there was a gift package from Ha-Di Company inviting the whole family to the party because of the great achievements of the child. This fruit has been saved on the day of the party. Ha-Di sat at the chairman's table and trembled like a plow answering everyone's questions. At this time, when she saw her parents coming to the party, she immediately wanted to fall to another place to play, but unexpectedly, while leaving, she bumped into her mother, causing everything to fall apart. Fortunately, it was just during her sleep that she imagined. But the person who called her up was Director Kong, so today was a test of a new dish. But because the sister fell asleep, everything became unraveling, making the male protagonist angry and left. When he got home, Director Kong thought about Ha-Di's apologies while he fell asleep, but he didn't understand anything. This fruit must have touched the heart of the girl who was born. At this time, our woman is bitter and red because she has to wait in line to eat, but she can also eat rice for her, but it's too grim. Fortunately, at this time, the boss came out to call whoever went alone. He could go in and eat first, help him eat and escape. But when she escaped this life, she encountered the secretary again, asking to make the scene come to a standstill. He ate and ruined the secretary, making him helpless to complain that he had done something wrong to her so much. On the other side, Harry's team was eating barbecue to celebrate her beautiful feat. But she doesn't have an appetite, she just sits and drinks to forget her sorrow. Because he was too drunk after leaving, Ha-Di immediately called the waterfowl to confide. This sister was drunk and said miscellaneous spirits, which made the director not understand anything. Suddenly, he turned off his phone to scold the students not to smoke, which made Director Kong worried. After calling back forever and continuing to subscribe, the brother didn't bother to drive much to look for his sister. Took a long time to find out that the sister was crying at the slide. Ha-Di was still not sober, so he kept playing tricks that made Director Kong helpless. She thought that Director Kong could be so affectionate that he was worried about finding him, but he could only dream. Gumi's words made Director Kong listen to him, making him unable to say anything. After a while, my dick ran to take me home, and Director Kong stood in a corner watching and couldn't do anything but walk home. When he returned to the room to think about the things just now, he thought that sometimes his feelings were real and not fake. The next morning, Ha-Di was called up by her mother, but she still didn't understand what force was helping her return home, when suddenly the ancestral bird called. The grandfather said that the identity of the Gumi was cancelled from now on. There was no more meeting, which made the sister not believe her eyes and became happy. It is true that he escaped the misfortune that going to work was like opening a party, making everyone in the group suddenly change. On the plane, my secretary wondered why the director was so merciful today. But Mr. Kong said that the time has come for a person's life to grow up. Today, my brother went to sign a contract but could not attend the founding ceremony, and he kept thinking about the jokes and feelings of the two, which made him panic because he was shocked. The next day, Haji thought that he had escaped, but unexpectedly, at this moment, the chairman called to arrange an appointment with his nephew. She could only hug her head bitterly because she hadn't said anything to the president yet. On the other side, at this time, Yang Xiao had just finished taking a bath. She was unfortunate and had to have a lamp that caused it to break. But while cleaning, the sister discovered a camera in the lamp, which shocked her because the father dared to give her this item. I can't think much about the vaccine sister with a pile of evidence to sue to keep it hot, but I met the same guy who made everything exposed. Tomorrow, at this time, her father's secretary came back and stood up to protect her, and the other guy immediately stole her and ran away. On the way, this guy threw the camera into the dust and continued running. After running for a while, my father's secretary changed in time to catch this guy. As soon as the director arrived at his grandfather's house, he heard that his father's secretary and Yang Xiao were at the police station, so he wanted to go there and see it, but he met Haj again. Here he immediately dragged her there with him and said the name Haj, which made her childish because her identity was exposed. At this time, the two brothers and sisters went to the police station, making the scene even more disturbing. But after being called in by the police to check, according to the videos provided by Yang Xiao, the other lip was only administratively fined, which shocked the two girls. Director Kong immediately investigated the pervert who cut off his lips immediately and always. The next day, Haji was wondering what he had done to reveal his identity to the director. After thinking for a while, she seemed to have realized something. On the director's side, the head of the lip cutter came to intimidate this name. That's why he decided to buy the company of this guy who was working to exchange his shares. Not only that, he pulled out the evidence of the victims he had caused trouble before, making the first person cut off his lip and apologized immediately. But this matter Director Kong is determined to do to the end. On the way to the company, the director decided to tell the truth to his father's secretary that he had loved Haj at first sight, which made him sigh as if the director was doing it. After confiding in the disciple for a while, our brother Kong decided to buy things to confess his love to the person he loved right away. When it came to the appointment, Haji only kept telling the truth that he had done before, and even pulled out the thought of shocking the guy because the sister played such a terrible trick. Make all his efforts pour into the river and into the sea so that everyone can find the treasure of Mrs. Zhang Mailan immediately and always. During the tennis training session, his father's secretary asked about his director's majestic play, but Mr. Kong was stunned and said that he had failed the whole practice. Replacing the secretary immediately encouraged the male protagonist of our house to regain his strength. Today the Haj had a meeting with his classmates. Just sitting down to eat, but having to eat the dog rice of the person she liked before, it made her only know how to fry her eyes on the phone. In the conversation, Hari accidentally said that the person who was with her before was her boyfriend, making the couple sometimes not understand anything. As for Yang Xiao, after returning, she stopped by the public toilet to relieve stress, but she only felt that there were cameras everywhere, making her helpless to run home. The next day, Haji was called to the office of Director Kong. She thought that this time it would definitely be a straight chase, but she didn't expect that his brother would sit down on the job application that made her stunned. Because if the company fires a talent like this, it will be at a disadvantage. Mr. Kong decided to put that aside. Glad that she was not fired, the brother said that the company would have an afterwork product development in the near future, and she was chosen to be in charge of that job, so she still happily agreed. In the afternoon, it was an appointment about how to create a new product. Then Director Kong took her to film again. She didn't understand anything. The director said that this main character, who is a food research officer, came to this gathering to relax and add a little more knowledge is wonderful. There is nothing more to blame for going to Hajj and accepting. The brother also played a lot of movies and arranged the scenery to be beautiful. It is true that rich people spend money are too high quality. Director Kong, while helping her sister adjust her seat, the two accidentally met each other's eyes, causing Haji to suddenly ask to go to the toilet to calm down. But as soon as she came out of the bathroom, she accidentally bumped into the room with the deputy and the Haj and immediately tried to escape. But unexpectedly, the two of them snooped straight to the couple's movie screening, causing Director Kong to rush out of here so as not to reveal his kidneys. Beside the scene of the woman waiting for the bus to come home, the sister was sad to go to the toilet because she was always in the mood of being secretly filmed and could not go outside. Tomorrow, at this time, she saw her father's secretary putting a red light on her, and he let her hitchhike home. On the way, he also kindly asked why Angsel about the previous incident. At the side of Director Kong at this time, he had to sit and wait for the three of them to finish watching the movie. The brother waited for a long time, but they still did not come back to the director, so he called Haj. Mr. Kong lied that he came home, causing his sister to say hurriedly that she promised to submit a film report to him tomorrow and then fell down, leaving him helpless. On the side of the couple, he was trying to hold back the stream when his father's secretary didn't know anything. But turning on the rain music made her hair split and she couldn't stand it anymore and went straight into the public toilet. But at such a critical time, the door could not be opened, which made her lament, and tomorrow, her father's secretary also came in to see the situation. Although he was a little shy, his brother also helped her open the door so that her sister could be freed in time. After he returned home with a sad face because of the difficult situation before. Being with Director Kong because he can't date, he is trying to find a way to create something. The next day, Mr. Kong decided that his sister would go on a business trip to learn about the new product. The president, after knowing that his nephew was going on a date, was as happy as opening a party. That's why I want the two of you to be able to quickly help him have a grandson. Today is the weekend, Hatzi's group goes out and the sister has to put her face in on a business trip to be sad. But it wasn't long before Director Kong brought his car to take her on a business trip. But the real purpose was to go out. It turned out that this brother had carefully researched the restaurants that Hatzi liked and wanted to take her there to eat as a date. After knowing that the place was her favorite restaurant, she was very interested in this business trip. Just like that, the two of them went through beautiful roads to get to the restaurant. But as soon as they arrived, the shop was closed because they ran out of ingredients. Not to be outdone, the guy immediately took her for a walk to find a restaurant. Mai replaced the Director Kong, who had prepared carefully by paying for a person's work with a day's work, so that he could bring the shop here to sell to surprise the girl he loved. After hearing that, the cake table immediately bowed to the guy. The two sat and talked for a while, and Director Kong knew that Haj's development goal was to create fast food, with the aim of helping people who don't have time to enjoy the emotional framework of the delicious taste that food brings. While chatting happily, the Director Kong even knelt down to tie a thick rope for his beloved, which was a beautiful scene. Can you two enter the hall to protect me? On the other side, the female brothers and sisters met each other at the bar. At this time, Yang Xiao no longer showed his attitude to his brother, and he didn't dare to touch his father's secretary anymore. Just like that, based on Yang Xiao's words, she said that she was embarrassed about her previous work. But the ironing brother said that it is a physiological need of people, not a big problem. On the way back, she was lifted by the secretary. At this time, the sister was too drunk to fish and said that when Yang Xiao met the guy at the convenience store, she had fallen in love at first sight. That's why he didn't hesitate to take the initiative to kiss the secretary. The brother also refused to be inferior but also played to the wharf with his sister to be beautiful. The woman's pair was finished, but at the main pair at this time, the director was bringing the Haj back. While having fun, the rain made the director remember the scene when he was a child, making it impossible for him to steer. To make sure he let her stay at the bus waiting area and leave, the sister was left helpless, not knowing what to do with the phone that ran out of battery with this tree slag. On the director's side, after calming down, the rain had stopped and he went to look for her in the same place. But she wasn't there, and she couldn't even make a phone call. At this time, Haji was at the reception of the hotel when he met his friends here. We remember that Haji said that she had gone out with her boyfriend and why she was here alone like this, which made her confused and didn't know what kind of answer. While he was tense, Director Kong at this time came in time to relieve Hari. That's why the brother even admitted that he was her boyfriend, making everything childish. Kong T bought it and went to the place to call her to go to our house, and the hotel receptionist answered the phone. Entering the hall, Haji was surrounded by a group of old friends who demanded to meet her big brother. I was about to refuse when the big man behind me called me, "Darling." And taking the opportunity to go forward and raise her cheeks, the beauty asked me if I could wait for a long time, so that Haji could roll his eyes. After a series of actions, he naturally turned around and introduced himself as the boyfriend of the Haj. Seeing this, the girls invited the two of them to go to dinner together on this occasion as a greeting. Without waiting for his wife to agree, the male protagonist immediately nodded to the people, and they even deliberately winked and signaled to Haj. When she came to the door, she immediately held the big man and asked why she suddenly pretended to be her boyfriend. The male protagonist said that she had to thank him, but he had just saved her and then apologized for leaving her alone on the road. I was gonna stop buying it so that I could stop pretending to be this boyfriend. Then outside the door, the two heard the girls talking about the relationship of the Haj. So what are you waiting for? He decided to go inside and let them know what it was like to love his wife in the blue sky. At the dinner table, seeing his wife staring at the menu, he immediately said, "Don't look at these things, just look at him." I also pulled out a black card and asked me if I knew what my love for me had in common with this card. The beauty shook her head to show that she didn't know, and immediately replied that there was no limit that made her stiff throat. Unable to bear the Haj and asking to go to the bathroom, Mr. Kong also insisted on taking her away, not letting her out of sight. When he came to the door, the waiter almost touched them, and his wife was also scolded by him. Returning to the dining table was a meal that made viewers like me prepare dishes and be excited. Not stopping there, the male protagonist took the opportunity to be asked about his profession as a director, which made Haj feel good and spilled a glass of wine on him. After finishing the meal, everyone said goodbye. Director Kong and Haji of their house rented a hotel room together to sleep overnight. I assigned my wife to sleep on my bed, sleep on the sofa, but this stupid head kept arguing. He had to threaten that if she slept on the sofa, he would also carry her to bed so that she would run back to her room on 3 legs and 4 legs. On this side, a child in the girls' association was gato with Haj just now because she got such an excellent sock when her boyfriend came. Talking for a while, the friend mentioned that Haji's boyfriend is the director of GoFood's Kong Te Mu, which surprised the boyfriend. Last time, the girls just now kept rushing up to ask Haji why meeting such a good boyfriend made her awkward. Senior Kong said that he had fallen for her since the first time he met her at the company and pursued her. But Haji is afraid that if he says that, he will often meet Minwo at the company because the work will feel awkward. Hearing that, he immediately asked her if she was worried because she was afraid that he would find it awkward or because Minwo was her unrequited love. From Haji's mouth, he knew that she had long since lost her unrequited love and blamed him for digging up, making Kong Big laugh silently. After a while, the beauty found an excuse to kick Numb her pussy out of the room. That night, the whole city was quiet, but everyone in this room could not sleep. The next morning, seeing that his wife slept too well, Director Kong pampered her so that she slept until afternoon before waking up, and sending someone to bring a set of clothes so that the wife can change them, but traveling with her boyfriend for 2 days is very strange. On this side, the sister in black just stretched her shoulders and woke up, extremely surprised, not knowing why she was at his house. Returning to the couple, Haji had just changed clothes and went down to the hall when he met Minwo. From a distance, seeing his wife and his ex-lover chatting, Director Kong couldn't bear to run to his wife's shoulder to mark his sovereignty and then drag each other to breakfast. Yang Xiao remembered that he was in a coma with the rain last night, and he hurriedly wanted to leave, but he returned. She was about to mention last night's incident when she interrupted and told her to pretend that nothing had happened and ran to make him stand up. The white-shirted couple had just finished breakfast and were going to return to Seoul because Director Kong had a meeting schedule. But Minwo spoke up to keep the Haj and said that he was numb because he was busy with work, so he didn't need to follow. So how did his wife get Director Kong to tell him that he would rearrange the schedule in accordance with the Haj and stay with everyone? After that, he called his grandfather's private yacht to take his whole house to the sea to fulfill the Haj's wish to see dolphins. On the boat, everyone asked about why the two were dating. Chairman Kong quickly replied that he had fallen in love with his wife at the first meeting, so he should pursue it. But Haji keeps doing weird tricks to push him away because he knows he likes her, and he still rejects him? Hearing the director say that, the girls around him laughed with admiration. On the boat, after having a private conversation with the Num, Chef Minwo immediately asked Director Kong if he wanted to know who could pay why it was a Haj. Hearing his wife say that, why did he stand out and say that he meant that Haji was not good enough to date me? Chef Lee Minwo considered the opponent's level before getting used to it. He warned me that Haj was an unattractive girl in my eyes, so don't arbitrarily judge my girlfriend again. After that, hearing his girlfriend Minwo and Haji compliment Chef Kong for being good at fishing for red snapper, he immediately drove the boat to the place where there were many fish to bait. It wasn't until he lost that his wife was so hot that she told him several times. He didn't pay attention until Haji couldn't stand Minwo to help. So hurry up and get on the car to take the Haj to the hospital. The other side trembled after being asked by Ian to erase the old story. He sat alone and raised a cup of pepper, remembering that he had also dumped her since the first time he met her, and then burned sadly. Haji, after going to the hospital and having a good night's sleep, woke up and said goodbye to Director Kong and got off the car and went home. Before he had time to leave a few steps, Kong Timu ran after him to express his unrequited feelings, and then said that she didn't apologize to him anymore, which was what he wanted to do. As for saying that he confessed his love, don't be sudden, so she just thought about it slowly and then answered later. Tien asked for Haj that night, sobbing and thought everything was just a dream. The next morning, while sitting in the office thinking about last night, Chairman Kong ran in and scolded his nephew and grabbed both hands. He had to hurriedly explain that he had broken up with Due Hum Hui. In the basement of the parking garage, Sung Hun saw that she was hiding and immediately came forward and said that she would accept the incident that day if she wanted to. So she didn't avoid her face anymore. She also said that she looked down on his sincerity and expressed that she liked her from the first time they met her and left. She had to run to block the door and rush into the room, explaining that she didn't remember what happened that night, so she was embarrassed to say that. Thua Tang rushed up and said right away, "From now on, it will make me remember forever," and then rush into a fierce fight. On this side, Director Kong said that he would give Haj time. So a week passed and he still did not contact her, waiting for her to answer. But today, when I went to work, I met my wife and my ex-lover, filming a vlog of cooking together, which made him a little hot in his body. Haji was turning to see him when he panicked and spilled a bottle of chili sauce on his shirt. After meeting and chatting in the hallway, Chairman Kong came to look for his nephew. So Kong Tae-mu quickly led Haji to flee. The chairman chased after him but could not catch him, warning that if he did not come back with a rumble, he had to continue to look at his eyes as promised. Haji heard this and directly rejected Chairman Kang's confession, making him confess again, affirming that he will confess his love until Haj agrees and promises to try to do everything, so stay with him. So in the end, the two of them resisted the vibration of their hearts and rushed to kiss each other. On the day her son was told that she had left, she finally came out and said that she had a short circuit, so let's delete what happened just now and run away. So that night, both of our brothers and sisters were together without trouble sleeping. The next morning, when I arrived at the Haj company, I found out that the video I shot with the chef yesterday received many compliments from viewers. When she returned, she received a phone call from her husband and children, and she didn't bother to pick up the phone. In the corridor, I saw a married person talking on the phone and laughing at the chairman who was stretched in the profession. So on the pretext of having his own private life, he would drive him home early to enjoy the evening. As for me, I drove to help my beloved wife solve the problem that was still unfinished yesterday. Haji said that the incident was like a collision accident. The director ignored it, but the director said it was easier. Whether it was negligence or intentional, I was still the one who caused the collision, so I had to compensate him. So he forced her to take her to eat compensation, but the food fee was too expensive, so Ms. D had to flip over, saying that the marriage was not my fault, but the director himself coordinated with me. After listening, the director decided to be responsible for the rest of Haj's life as a couple, which made her stiff throat. Not wanting to throw his wife into the street, so he came up with another solution, which was 2-4-tat kiss and then kiss back. It made Haji have to say that she would invite him to eat, but he ate alone and I was alone. So the whole time watching him eat, his charming lips made Haji unable to stop remembering the time when their lips touched. After running to the toilet with her whole face, she saw that her husband was playing the piano too much or too sharp, so he had to applaud her. Returning to the table, he was about to ask the installment payment price, but the staff announced that he had already paid. Lean ran to ask, and he answered even more that next time he had to pay for a bigger meal and then left together. On this side, the newlyweds are surprising each other by cooking delicious dinners. However, when he sat down at the table to taste, Sung-hoon was stunned because the taste of the food made him speechless. Because his wife forced him to give frank comments, he criticized the fairness of each dish, making Yang Xiao annoyed and had to lament to his best friend. On a beautiful morning, Sung-hoon decided to take his wife to climb the mountain because he was afraid that she would sit in the office all day and lie on the sofa tired. Although he had found an excuse to refuse, Yang Xiao could not escape from him. This attentive lover had already been prepared for her. On the other side, last weekend, the employee still asked to be taken to an amusement park to pay the kissing fee. So the two of them had to spend a hard day laughing, talking and joking together, and racing hard with playing the wooden horse carousel. In another place, there was a leisurely person with her husband climbing a mountain with a sore leg and had to sit down to rest. Talking around for a while, the two people disagreed and quarreled, making Yang Xiao angrily leave. After playing all day, the cockroach was hungry and asked Haj to take him to eat sausages to review the memories with his parents, which was extremely emotional. Yang Xiao didn't know the way, but just went down on her own, causing Sung-hoon, who was always running after her, to get lost. Black iron still slipped, so I had to carry her down the mountain, and I apologized and promised not to make me sad in the future. So the two of them happily returned home together to make a hot night. While chatting romantically with Kang Tae-moo, Haji received a phone call informing him that his injured mother was in the hospital. When he arrived, he found out that his father had acute appendicitis and had just finished emergency surgery. But there was no bed, so he could not enter the room to lie down. Suddenly, the nurse announced that the patient had been transferred to the VIP room, and it was her son-in-law who was prepared. However, Haji went to introduce him as the head of the recording department to his parents, making him have to deal with her and lie. Chef Min-woo in the Haj room finds out that the labor contract is fake. So he quickly rushed to punch Kong with a warning to his mother, "Don't go to the Golden Village around Haj anymore." Before the owl was about to fight back, Haji stopped and led Chef Lee to leave. After talking, Lee Min-woo asked why Haji didn't talk. She was forced to sign a contract with him. Haji immediately replied, "Tomorrow, please apologize to the director and don't interfere in your affairs anymore." Seeing that the beauty was still defending others, Lee was dirty, and immediately preemptively said that the two couldn't come together, so Haji held back and left. Returning to the room, she was about to text to apologize to Director Kong, but she remembered Lee Min-woo's words that she would send a thank you message that she would return the hospital fee to him later, which made him sad. The next day, in the basement of the car, Kang Tae-moo caught Sung-hoon and his girlfriend who was distributing salaries, and immediately angrily blamed him for not telling him. Returning to the room, he also met his grandfather who came to catch him today. He had to go to see the daughter of the director of the Marine Group, so he had to go. Sung-hoon next to him asked why he decided to give up on Ms. Haji, which made him ponder. Haji, on the other side, was attending the sports festival with everyone else because he was engrossed in dodging the ball and fell to the floor in pain. Going to the toilet to wash your hands and remember the announcement that the MVP of today's sports festival will be rewarded with a private dinner with the director. Making her equally contemplative, she decided not to give up the game but fight hard to defeat her opponent and successfully win the tournament MVP. After the time to celebrate with everyone, or the news that the director could not come to give the award today because he was busy looking at his eyes, he was extremely surprised. After the festival, waiting for everyone to leave for the Hajj, sitting alone to remember their past moments, and the director hurriedly took a car to his place. Afraid that she wouldn't be able to stop him in time, she still called and told him not to go and look at her eyes. From now on, she only thought about the two of them and didn't care about the eyes of outsiders. And taking this opportunity to express his heart, Director Kong couldn't help but laugh and say that he was in front of her house. The decision today to confess his love to her again was really right, so Haji quickly turned around and returned to the car. On the way to meet, there was still a traffic jam, so my brothers and sisters got off the car and jogged to the other party. Director Kong said that if you come forward now, he will never let you go. Haji heard it, but smiled and went to return the kissing fee to him after many difficulties, and the two finally became a true couple. To go to see Haj, Temo asked Jo Yu-chong to climb a tree, asked Sung-hoon to represent him and apologize to the woman, and made it clear that Temo already had someone he wanted to marry. Yang Seo heard that Temo and Jo Yu-chong looked at their eyes, but they couldn't help but ask, based on what Temo threw away the Haj and went to see the eyes of another woman. Sung-hoon was just about to explain to Temo when Yang Seo patted him on the head and remembered to hurry back to the meeting, so she hurriedly left. Sung-hoon didn't have time to tell the truth about last night. It was a happy day. Temo called Haj, the words were written affectionately, because he missed Haj so much that he didn't sleep well last night. This morning, he came to the door of the Haj early, wanting to make an appointment with her before going to work, while telling the Haj to slowly put on makeup, and saying that he wanted to meet the Haj quickly. Haji was full of happiness, quickly renovated it and went to meet Temo. Temo took her to a friend's restaurant to personally go down to the kitchen to cook for Haj. Haji kept smiling stupidly throughout the process. The feeling of happiness was revealed in his words. Temo knows how to cook and exudes an enchanting charm that makes Haj extremely vibrating. The layout, the colors that Temo makes, Haj can't bear to eat. Take photos to keep as a memory in advance. She carelessly dropped the cutlery. Temo bent down to pick it up. He accidentally found that Haji was wearing the wrong shoes. It seemed that Haji also wanted to go to see Temo, so he hurried out. Even the shoes were not carefully chosen. Temo kept talking about Haj, praising her for being lovely, making people vibrate. Haji couldn't see her face flushed and shyly covered her face with her hands. After breakfast, Haji suggested to Temo that they go to the company separately. She didn't want her colleagues to see her and Temo go to work together and finish speaking, but when Temo didn't pay attention, she left a kiss on his face. After kissing, she immediately ran away. Looking at such a lovely Haj, Temo was even more sucked in, came to the company. Sung-hoon curiously inquired about the progress of Temo and Haji. Temo has a mysterious appearance, but as soon as he turns around, he tells Sung-hoon to buy a pair of shoes for women. He wants to give it to his girlfriend. Sung-hoon heard about his girlfriend and immediately understood. It seems that the two of them confirmed their relationship last night. Not long after, the shipper brought the high heels to Haj's office, saying that her boyfriend gave them to her, which both attracted the eyes of her colleagues. Haji, in a moment of urgency, quickly explained that Young Seo likes to act for him. The behind-the-scenes video that Haji filmed is very famous on the internet, even reaching the top of searches. The consumption of the product has also increased. During the company meeting, the employee is reporting on the kimchi dumplings researched by Minggu and Haji to achieve achievements. TMO absent-mindedly wrote Haji's name on his iPad and drew a heart, and wrote that he wanted to date her. In his mind at this time, he only thought about not going on a business trip and going on a date with Haj, but this was obviously not true. TMO had to go to find Haji before leaving, and when he saw Haji wearing the shoes he gave him, he was very satisfied. He borrowed that the company should call Haj in front of him, then quietly showed the screen to her. When Haji saw it, he was scared and got his hands dirty and smashed the iPad, lying that there were flies in this room. Sung-hoon is afraid that his colleagues will see the loophole and pull TMO away. TMO came to the US for business after finishing work. Counting the time in Seoul, Haji must have finished work. He didn't have time to wait to call Haj, but Haji was eating and drinking with his colleagues. She searched everywhere where she could hear the phone, but whether it was the women's toilet or outside the restaurant, she encountered a colleague. The restaurant is so big that there is not even a place to listen to the phone. In the end, she had to miss Tmo's phone, and her grandfather urged TMO to go and have an eye check. Sung-hoon couldn't help but remember the last time he helped TMO solve the eye problem. Doo Chong was not angry when she heard that TMO didn't come, because she had already reminded her of her loyalty to the handsome Sung-hoon in front of her. Doo Chong said excitedly, this was her destiny to meet Sung-hoon. From then on, Doo Chong kept clinging to Sung-hoon. Sung-hoon had a headache. Yang Seo and Doo Chong meet at the company. Yang Seo is calling Sung-hoon. After trying to hang up the phone, the two of them received a message from Sung-hoon at the same time. On one side is a secret message, on the other side is a guest message. But both girls still don't realize that they are talking to a man. Yoo Chong sees the sentence and will contact you. And Sung-hoon sends it and laughs happily. Misinterpreting a polite refusal as a signal, Yang Seo also smiled happily. Yoo Chong's mother, who was hiding nearby, laughed happily when she heard this. She thinks that her daughter and TMO are in love. She hurriedly went to find the president's grandfather to announce this good news and suggested that the two of them get married quickly. That day, Haji and Mingu were interviewed together. Before starting the interview, Mingu asked about the development of Haj and TMO. Haji also told the truth. They decided to go back and forth. Although Haji also knows that this feeling is likely to have no results, Haji does not want to let himself regret it. As the interview was about to end, TMO appeared. He asked Haji right in front of the reporter if he wanted to have dinner with him tonight. Although TMO was quick to explain that this was the reward that Haji won during the games, but Haji was still terrified. This feeling is stimulating. TMO told Haji to choose a place to eat, Haji to choose a small restaurant he usually went to eat. The shopkeeper saw Haji bring a strange boy. Haji wants to introduce this as the president of the company. Then he changed and said that TMO was his boyfriend. After listening, TMO smiled with satisfaction. Mrs. D was about to invite the Haj to eat the soup. Customers in the shop also came to join in the fun. TMO stood up generously and said that let him invite everyone. There was an immediate cheer in the shop. After dinner, the two sat on the swing. TMO's mood was extremely good. He looked at Haji and wanted to do something. After speaking, TMO bent over. Haji thought he wanted to kiss him, so he closed his eyes. But TMO said to help Haji wipe the soy sauce from his face. Haji was very disappointed. But it was at this moment that TMO pulled Haji's swing back and suddenly kissed her. On the other side, Sung-hoon and Yang Seo had an appointment to meet tonight. When he returns home, he finds Yoo Chong drunk lying in front of his door. Yoo Chong kept leaning on Sung-hoon's body and couldn't help but want to vomit. Sung-hoon had to open the door to help her enter the house. Soon, Yang Seo returned. Sung-hoon stopped Yang Seo outside the door, lying that TMO came, telling her to go home first. The next day, Yoo Chong is full of sadness and comes to Yang Seo for emotional advice. She tried to admit that she had broken up with her boyfriend who admired her in her heart, because that man always draws a line with her. She was drunk, so she ran to people's houses and went crazy. Yang Seo cheered her on her with an ace. She took her own example to say that as long as she actively attacked, there would be results. Listening to Yang Seo's words, Yoo Chong goes directly to the company, making Sung-hoon afraid to hide behind the TMO. Yoo Chong makes it clear to TMO about the current situation and her thoughts, but is overheard by his grandfather. When the grandfather heard that TMO told Sung-hoon to go and look at his eyes, he got angry and took the bat. The chairman questioned TMO if he was not in love with Yoo Chong. So who is your current love interest? TMO didn't know how to answer for a moment. Suddenly, his grandfather's stomach was not well, and he temporarily let TMO go to the toilet. Coincidentally, Haji chased the Chaebol into the men's toilet. Haji fell down. When he was about to crawl up, he heard his grandfather's voice. Haji had to hide in the toilet next door. She still hadn't had time to pick up a shoe outside. Grandpa saw women's shoes in the men's toilet. TMO, who was next to him, realized that these were Haji's shoes, so he hurriedly cleared the siege. Maybe you went wrong. But the stubborn grandfather had to track down this person. Reluctantly, Haji had to go out of the toilet away from the wall. The grandfather realized that she was the one who pushed him down last time and finally asked Haji to write an explanation. Haji finished writing the application and gave it to his grandfather to read. But the grandfather still couldn't help but feel that just by meeting the Haj, something bad would happen. He did not want to be involved in the Haj. TMO heard his grandfather's words and was dissatisfied with his grandfather's judgment. She did not go out to eat with everyone even though everyone begged Haj to accompany her. Who expected the director to appear, so he went to eat with everyone. Everyone is stressed, so Haji has a proposal that each person have a bomb of alcohol. He also likes to drink alcohol bombs. Gaben has become the master of his bartender. The atmosphere became very happy and Director Kong drank the whole glass of wine. Meanwhile, Sung-hoon wants to introduce his girlfriend to his mother. His mother went to the bathroom just when the tide had just arrived. Do Dung Lump appeared here and knew that he was the boyfriend of the Zio line. Because the stream rushed in and beat the jealousy, the stream became angry and left. He chased after him, explained and apologized for everything. Zio did not forgive his mistakes and left. Meanwhile, the two of them were so drunk that he pushed her into a room. Haji asked if the chairman was still angry with him. He said, "Don't worry too much. Everyone is still not drunk but wants to increase 2 more. He also chooses to always increase 2. She immediately shouted loudly, but when she looked back, she didn't see anyone holding her hand. Jibin said she was drunk, so she said that Jibin and Yeoju were also dating. Director Kong was also surprised. The two of them just laughed out loud and said that they were too drunk, so they just said the wrong thing. While the 3 people were leaving, the chairman suddenly saw Taemu here, so he went to inquire. Seeing the 2 people meeting in the middle of the night, the chairman wanted Haji to explain. Until the other 3 people came back to explain that the director had a party with the group. The chairman no longer had any doubts, and Haji also greeted him and left. After arriving home, the chairman knew that he was in love with a girl. He said he wouldn't hide it anymore, but promised to bring it back soon. That morning, the 2 were walking when they met the other couple. The 2 people are very strange, so Haji and Zhang Zio chased 2 people to run and split 1 girl at the time when the 2 people ran inside. He also introduced her as his girlfriend to his mother. At that time, the 2 met at the restaurant but only briefly. The photos of Sung-hoon as a child and Kang's parents. Sung-hoon is a person who doesn't speak his heart, but he is very kind. She also asked for a photo of Sung-hoon as a child, and then the 2 of them went out to talk. She said that she owed a large amount of money and belonged to a small amount of calf blood. She didn't even know where her mother lived. She really wanted to tell him, because she wanted to cultivate affection for each other. Sung-hoon found her very beautiful. At that time, 2 people were walking. She said she agreed to confess her love. It was just because the numbness was too infatuated with her. I also thank you for accepting me and wanting the world to know that you are mine. Soon after, they got together and played basketball together. While everyone was finished playing, Haj received an urgent phone call. Her brother took some money and ran away from home. When he saw her as a child, he immediately complimented her on how cute she was. When everyone was going to eat, the restaurant had a customer. Taemo said that everyone would wait, but who would have expected so many people to come? So they had to stay to help Haj sell fried chicken. She saw that Sung-hoon was a professional revival and that Kong was not inferior. While the director Kong mixed the chicken and Haji marinated the spices. She gave him a try of her fried chicken. It was indeed very delicious. Finally, the guest came back, and Director Kong apologized. She said that she wanted to agree to a bribe. He bribed a video of Sung-hoon. While everyone was planning to get together, Haji accidentally soiled his clothes with numbness. She led him into the house to change her brother's clothes. Just when the uncle returned, the 2 of them had to stop him. The 2 people inside didn't know anything thanks to the algae outside shouting. The 2 people inside knew and took Director Kong into her room to hide. In her room, he observed everything around him. Rong Zio also introduced Sung-hoon as her boyfriend. She wanted to end the drinking session, but Haji's mother would not let her do it. She was outside very worried about him at this time, and she ran out of wine. So he went to the Haj room to get wine, but fortunately he was not detected. Turned out that the numbness was hiding in the closet, so she pulled him outside and told him to jump down. Jumping down killed me, so she dragged him out. The other 2 also successfully helped to save Director Kong out. She was very afraid if she was found out, and he didn't like to be sneaky like this forever. When Haj's brother left, he saw 2 people here. Seeing him wearing his shirt, Heyman cursed him badly. He introduced himself as the director of the Num Kong and the boyfriend of the Haji. Heyman apologized to Director Kong and also called him brother-in-law. Hearing from his brother-in-law he was going to give a little money, but Haji stopped him. At that time, Haji went to see Zojia. She had something to tell him. That she wanted Haj to stay away from Sunday because she thought Haj still liked Sunday. Just when the week came, I heard that. She regretted not saying love to Mingu at that time. The three people who had met each other had chased after her and asked her about what she had said earlier. She said to go and apologize to Zojia this week, and then turned away and left. At this time, Director Kong called her and said that she missed me very much. She wanted the two of them to go on a date tomorrow. He didn't think much about it, but agreed. The date has also come to Haj and wants to eat fatty Western food. Suddenly rained, so the two had to take the train. He took her to a flower shop and gave her a very large bouquet of flowers. Everyone who looked at it admired. After that, the two went to eat. She said that in rainy weather like this, going to eat pancakes was the best. The president found out that he was dating Haji based on the step he was sneaked into. After eating, he saw that Director Kong was busy, so Haji wanted to go home by himself. She received a call from the president and went to the meeting point to meet the president. He knew that she was asking for aggression and asked her what purpose she approached Temu. He knew that Haji was going to meet the president, so he drove to the restaurant. In the meantime, he hit the delivery man. The chairman also received a call that Temu had an accident. She was very worried about Temu and followed the president to the hospital. As soon as he saw that the chairman had kicked her out, he also said that because of her, Temu had an accident. Seeing that he was still healthy, Haji asked for permission to go first. He pulled her back and introduced Haji as his lover. The president wants him to end right away, but he won't love anyone but Haj. He said that Haji was not at fault but that I told her to lie. At this time it was raining outside, and she had returned to the hospital. She said that she was very worried about the chairman's meeting, and she didn't stop her anymore. Haji went inside, and outside in the rain reminded him of his father. He has a lot of sadness that he doesn't know who to confide in. He said that his parents died because of him. Just because he asked to go to the amusement park, his parents had to rush home. But they had an accident and he witnessed his parents die at that time. He couldn't see them anymore and knew they hated him very much. She had advised him not to think like that, because no parent resents their blood-blind child. Maybe they want him to be happy too. She hugged Temu and he also felt somewhat relieved. The next morning, when she went to work, she found that her phone was not in her book bag. After that, the SEO line gave her and told Haji to read the news this morning. The photo of her and the dating director was posted on social networks. Aggressive comments towards Haj. This news reached the ears of the chairman and people in the company. Colleagues came to the food room to relax this morning. They said Haji seduced the director to go ahead. When Haji came to work, he was cursed by the manager. The entire project had to be stopped because of her rumors with Director Kong. The project was handed over to rooms 2 and 3, so a lot of merit was lost because of the Haj. The SEO line was very worried, so I called to ask her and lied that she was okay. At this time, she had to hide because she had no face to look at her colleagues anymore. There are 2 people who have said that Haji loves the director only because of his status and money. Zabin went to introduce himself to work with Haj. He said Haj was very good and the other 2 also recognized it. He threatened the 2 people who didn't know anything, don't say it, make the other 2 afraid and run away. Zabin is cool because he can't let them speak ill of Haji like that. She saw it all and ran to hug the 3 of them. As for the Director Kang's side, he still didn't know about the Haj. The chairman did not let him use the phone, but only read books to relieve his sadness. While Haji at Director Kang's house called, she didn't tell him about herself. He saw Haji sighing and asked her what was wrong. She lied that she was just yawning. He said that he didn't feel comfortable at all when he was dating. He wanted to let everyone know that she was his lover. But when he was about to say he was getting married, the phone was disconnected. When he returned, the chairman told him to go to the United States to live. The numbness knew how to split the 2 of them, but the chairman asked, when the 2 of them go public with each other, They will praise because the employee loves the director. He said he was going to marry Haj and wanted the chairman to accept this. On the side of the line, her father appears and learns that Sung-hoon is her boyfriend. He wants to go to dinner tonight to know more about Sung-hoon. The chairman met with Haji and said that she was one to transfer her work far away, and the other was to want her to resign. At that time, he was walking and accidentally heard about the Haj. He blamed Sung-hoon for not telling him, then immediately went to the company to meet Haj. When he met the president, he forced Haji to resign. If he doesn't take his place as director, he will lose. He said he would be responsible, so don't touch the Haj. Then he went to the Haj's house to find out that she had not come home. She remembered that the chairman had forced her to resign, and she immediately refused. She has put in a lot of effort and even won the super prize, so she will never quit her job. The two of them went to see the father of the Zeo line, who liked Sung-hoon very much the first time they met. Even considering Sung-hoon as a child will make the line quite surprising. At the end of the confinement, she saw that her father was very strange today. Accidentally, he saw that a box opened was a diamond ring. Sung-hoon stopped the car and proposed to the taxi here. She also had no reason to refuse. Haji had arrived at the place where the two had been dating for the first time and then answered his phone. She said she was in front of a pine tree. He told her not to go anywhere. He'll go there right away. The two had met. He had hugged her and wanted her not to leave him anymore. I've taken the Haj home. What do the two of them do? You think for yourself. The next morning, Sung-hoon received a phone call from his father. He wanted him to break up with the line that she had accidentally heard. She went to see Sung-hoon and said that today was her birthday. Haji's parents often organize for her, so she will go there. Meanwhile, Haji's parents were returning home when they saw that the two were intimate with each other. She went to fight the Haj once, but fortunately her uncle stopped her. He also introduced himself as the Kong director of the GoFundMe company. The other two also came and he spoke all his thoughts. There are many girls who pursue him, but each Haj is the one he loves the most. But for the time being, these things aside, because today is the birthday of the Shui line. When I went to eat, my aunt also apologized to me for what happened just now. The aunt is very fond of director Kong, so she continuously invites him to drink. The uncle didn't seem to like him very much, so he left without saying a word. Taemo went out to greet his uncle and found out. When he was a child, Haji sang very well but could not become a singer. That's because he is as incompetent as when he knows that Haji is accustomed to director Kong. He was very sad because his house was just a small chicken shop. Taemo has promised to stay with Haj forever even if he loses everything. The uncle was relieved after hearing it. Minwo met with Haj to announce that he was going to travel to Europe. He and Yuja have also broken up. He will fly this afternoon. She didn't know what to do, but only wished him good health. The two shook hands to say goodbye. On the side of the river, she went to see her father. She had applied to think about the job and didn't want to be involved with him anymore. He only thinks about money and doesn't care what she wants. Before leaving, she said today was her birthday and he didn't remember it. When she came home, Sung-hoon called over because he cooked a lot of delicious food. She ate the sea soup and cried and said that she had applied to think about work. Although she doesn't have a father who cares, she has others. In the near future, Zeo wants to open a company under his name. So it takes a very large amount of capital. Sung-hoon is ready for her to reverse. The stream did not accept it. He considered this as money invested in the company. While the two were talking, the doctor came to announce the sad news. The president has suffered from endometrial damage due to multiple surgeries. But Korea has no cure. Taemu called Haj to talk. In the near future, he has to take the chairman to the United States for medical treatment. So he wanted her to come with him so that they wouldn't be separated from each other. She refused because doing so would only drag him in. Haji said that he was okay with him to treat the president's illness with peace of mind. Taemu said to wait for the day he came back. Until a year later, Taemu appeared on TV because his cast was the best-selling in the world. While director Kong is in the US, the two still regularly video call each other. Because he was very busy, the two of them only talk to each other a little. The next day, there was an article about Director Kong dating the female singer. While she called him, he didn't answer the phone, so she was angry. Haji didn't think much about it, but went to the United States to meet Director Kong. He suspected that the two met here and she beat him because of the article. He explained that the article was just fake. Soon after, the two went for a walk together. He said he didn't want to be away from her anymore and got married. Director Kong proposed to Haji and then gave each other a kiss. The needle set came to an end. See you in the following series.